You can see it's already starting to hold that shape that I'm pushing into it. Light that fire starter with her. Good job.
Well, what do you think? That's a real survival fire, huh?
Hey there guys, today I'm going to be doing what I do best, and that is to know a very little bit about a broad range of topics. And today that topic is going to be leatherworking. I'm going to show you how I make a wet formed leather belt sheath that you might use to hold a multi-tool on your belt. In this case I'm going to be making this for my daughter Marley because she's been wanting to have a sheath to hold her Swiss Army knife, as well as a couple of little survival items when we go on our camping and fishing trips. And anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing today. At the end, I'm also going to show you some footage of a little survival trip that her and I took on our most recent camping trip that kind of motivated me wanting to do this. And before I get started, I want to say thank you to the Home Depot Perspective and Ryobi Power Tools. They sent me this very cool little cutter that I'm going to be using to cut the leather with. And anyway, let's get started. So here's what I'm hoping to fit into this sheath. This is a Victorinox Huntsman that we got Marley for Christmas. She absolutely loves it, and part of the inspiration of this project is she's always asked me to make her a belt sheath for this. This is a vintage match holder or fire tender holder. I also want to fit this into the sheath, as well as a ferro rod, and they will kind of be put in a tight little package like that. What I'm going to try to do is make them in the form of some older sheaths that I've made in the past. This is a Leatherman sheath. You see I stitched it around the edges. It's got a metal belt clip and just a flap with a button on top. And this is an ammo holder I made my wife years ago, but this one has a leather belt loop. So I don't know if I'm going to do the metal or the leather just yet, but what I will be doing is I've got a piece of wood that roughly fits the profile of what I need, and I'm going to wet the leather down and essentially form it around the wood. This is just an example of what I've done in the past, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to kind of sand this down, get it dialed in just a little bit more, and start forming. Get it lined up, and I'm just going to work it right in these creases. And this is just a little tool to help get some of those creases a little bit sharper. You can see it's already starting to hold that shape that I'm pushing into it. This is the ultimate passive way to dry leather, just a hot vehicle. You can also use an oven on really low or just let it set overnight, but I find a vehicle works pretty well. There you're going to notice the underside of where the wood was is not fully dry, but you'll see the shape here is pretty well set. And I had to use an extra little piece of leather as a shim just to get that nice and tight around there. So that's what that is for. So it's been overnight and this is fully dry now. You can see the shape of the form is locked in there and it is nice and stiff, which is what I want for a sheath. But I noticed a few little marks of what I believe are metal shavings that were on the wood that I used to clamp this leather down. So I went ahead and made sure those were clean, and I just made myself a second form in the exact same manner. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is cut these out where there's just a little bit of a lip all the way around here, and I'll see which one I like better. And both of the formed pieces are now trimmed up, and you can see they are pretty much mirror images of one another, exactly the same, with the exception of the second one I made is just a little bit taller. And I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to fit these in here, and I'm actually thinking, because of the length of this ferro rod, I'm going to go with this second one because it'll sit in there a little bit nicer. And what I'm going to do now is cut a block of wood that's going to allow this ferro rod to sit in there and space these two guys out. So right now I am marking out about 1/4 of an inch at the end of the flap that's going to fold over, and that's just going to give it a little bit of a taper to where it doesn't look too big and bulky when it is in the closed position. Yeah, I think that's going to be much better. This right here is an edge groover, and I'm going to use it to cut a little groove along this lip right here. It allows these stitches to kind of sit in a recessed fashion to where they're not humped up over the leather, and I think it just gives a nice clean look. And then I'm also going to use it to cut a little decorative line around the flap for no other reason, just to kind of give it a little more finished look. And there you go. It's all stitched up. It looks nice and tidy. And what I'm going to do right now is use this with a little bit of water, and I'm going to burnish or smooth up the edges. And then I will finish it with a little bit of edge coat. It gives just a little bit more of a durable coating on the edges so they don't start fraying over time. Originally I had mentioned I might do a leather loop with copper rivets like on this one, but I would have had to do that when it was still stitched, so my other plan was to use this little prefab metal belt clip, but I just thought it was a little too narrow. So I started looking through my leather and Kydex stuff, and I found this old Kydex belt loop, and I'm going to install this on the back of this with these little machine screws and Loctite, and I think it'll make for a nice package. And then well, I think that's going to do it for the leatherworking portion of this video. I think it turned out pretty well, and my daughter is going to be able to get a lifetime worth of use out of this, and perhaps she might even be able to pass it on down to one of my grandkids if I am so blessed. If you've never tried leatherworking, I can't recommend it enough. It definitely has kind of an old school heirloom quality to it. Kind of harkens back to a day when a man's word was as good as gold and contracts could be done on a handshake. Both things that are very near and dear to my personal values. And as for the rest of the video, what I mentioned earlier, I'm going to take you off and show you our little daddy-daughter adventure that we did this past summer on a camping trip. And I'm also going to show you a little Christmas video from this last Christmas where we gave Marley a machete because she kind of told us she wanted one, and I thought it was just a pretty cute video. So now we'll get to that.
I got my own machete.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Let's see it.
Show mom for a picture.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
A real machete.
Cool.
I'm gonna put my machete in the middle of this piece of wood, and I'm gonna grab another piece of wood and hammer it in.
The last one. Good job. Look, see how nice those are? They're all little teensy curly cues. Oh, that's perfect. You see that nice little curly cue? See that?
Yeah.
They call that a feather stick. Well, this wood is a little bit moist. You see?
That looks cool.
That's pretty good. And then you could, and that's how all that's going to burn. With a little fire starter. With the pull method. Oh, that was a good one. Now Marley and I are on a little survival skills trip down to this little canyon behind where we are camped. You saw her processing some firewood using her machete, which I don't know if I've showed you that video yet, but it's super cute from Christmas. And what are we gonna do?
Well, we're gonna collect water.
Yeah, we're gonna find a couple of different ways to collect water, right?
Yeah, we're gonna like find a good cave
Why would we need to find a cave or shelter?
because it's about to start raining. There's
Yeah.
a lot of rain
And
clouds
right
in the
now we got
sky.
some clouds coming up,
And
so we
there's
kind of
some
position ways of water that we can find in this area. If we don't have a stream or a pond or something. What can we do with the grass?
We can put a handkerchief in the grass, and the water will go into it from the dew, and then you squeeze it out, and it's good water.
Yep, that would be good water. We'd still boil it. What about the rocks? Like
If there's a good enough like crack or something in the rocks,
a water seep?
a water seep, the water will start dripping, just constant after a rain. And so
Okay.
you can collect water from that.
And what about the tops of the rocks where they have little divots on them?
You can like,
Find some standing water
yeah.
and collect it from there, like if it's a hole and it collects dew or rain.
Yeah.
So Okay, so here's one of our first candidates for a cave. Does this one look pretty good?
Not too good.
Why not? What's wrong with it?
I'm feeling the rocks, and they're pretty wet. So I'm feeling a lot of wetness right here, so that means there's probably a water seep right here.
And what about this little section up here? It looks like maybe water runs down.
Yeah, so it looks like
run.
we'd be trapped almost behind like a waterfall.
It'd be better than nothing, though. Should we go check out some others?
Definitely.
So Marley thinks she's found some pretty good cave candidates up here. You want to point them out?
Yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, but 2 of them are a little bit too small for 2 people.
Yeah?
They might be able to fit me.
All right, let's go check them out, see if she can find the right one. See above your head over here?
Oh, wow.
Well, that's nice. We got to find one that has a little more consistent
All right, so
drip.
this isn't good-sized caves,
Oh, look at that
but
one.
look at it.
Yep, and it looks like there's a little waterfall channel right here that could get you wet, but it'd be better than nothing. Let's check it out.
This one. Dad, look at it.
What?
Look at how much water's pouring.
Hey, but you know what we can do there?
Collect water.
Yeah. Okay, go put the cup under and see if you can collect some water. How much water do we have in there?
Not that much.
Okay. All right, so we've got our water automating. Just put a rock there so it can collect, and we are gonna go see if we can find our cave, start our fire.
It's about halfway full. Aha. Perfect.
You think this is where you want to try it?
Yeah. But it kind of does look like it.
Any other caves?
Nope.
Should we go to plan B?
Yeah.
Or one of the first ones we saw?
Whoa, it's tip-top full. It's...
Let me see. Oh yeah. Now, honestly, we could probably drink it just like that, and it would be fine. And if that was your only option, I would happily do it. It's crystal clear, but if we got the option to boil, we should. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the cave. Okay, so we think we found the spot that we're going to have our little fire. It is in one of these wetter caves, but it's got 2 basic holes for a person to be able to lay down to at least keep you out of the lightning. You might get a little bit wet, but then we'll put our fire right where Marley's backpack is. And I don't know.
So, because the caves are big enough for 2 people, even though that one's a little bit less, like...
Yeah,
deep,
but if it was a
still-
torrential downpour, it would at least give you some protection.
But
right?
the other one is pretty tight and hard to get
Yeah, that
into.
last one we said it was
tried to
nice and
get
dry,
into.
but Marley felt like there's a pack rat living in there. So, and there was a whole bunch. To make matters a little bit easier, we brought some of the stuff that Marley already split with her machete, and she's just building up some of those little shaving curls, and then she's going to use her fire starter to actually start the fire. So right now Marley's been getting everything out of her survival kit that she got from her Uncle Jeff, Cousin Megan, and Aunt Sonia. And she got her flint striker, and it comes with these little tabs that we're just spreading out. It's kind of like a little fiber that is impregnated with some flammable stuff. We're just getting them. So we've got some dry pine needles, the fire starter, our shavings, and then we'll have all these little sticks that we'll put on top of that. And then we can put the bigger stuff. Good. We did this at camp, and she did it like on the 3rd try, but a little different out here, huh? Oh, there you go. It's burning. It's burning. You got it. See? So now we can do just a little bit of this. You want to set some of this on real slow? Real slow. See, I'm just kind of almost rolling it on top. Look at that. Because we just don't want to snuff it out. Okay, get some of your little sticks on.
Oh.
Yeah. You can do some crisscross if you want. Look at that. That's a real fire.
Well, what do you think? That's a real survival fire, huh?
Yeah.
Now we're on the fire, halfway off, and the reason for that is because we didn't bring any gloves, so we can have these handles nice and cool, but it still should boil any minute now. They're closer to the core, where the cup is. All right, our little instant coffee is ready. How is it? Is it hot?
Too hot. It's good, but it burned my lip. I mean, my tongue.
Well, let's let it cool a little bit more. And Marley is going to show you what she's been working on inside her cave. In case we were about to, or in case we were going to be stranded here long term.
All right. So, I've been working on a bed. Now,
Okay, what did you use for your bed?
pine needles and grass. It's actually pretty comfortable unless you sit right there, because I had to cover up a puddle, so if you sit...
Is that getting better?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit cooler?
A little bit watery.
Oh, should have brought more?
Yeah. It's a big little frog.
Let me see it. This little... Oh, yeah. Alright, put him down.
So maybe he was the frog from earlier.
No, this is a little bit far distance.
Oh, there you go.
So that little adventure is done, and the thunder has been getting a little bit closer, so we're gonna head back. But before we do head back, we're gonna try out this little survival straw that my sister, Marley's Aunt Jessica, gave us. And we're gonna go back to that pool of water we saw earlier. Okay, so here's this life straw. Let me show them. Thanks, Aunt Jessica. Okay, so pop that. That side goes into the water. And this is where we drink from. I'm just kidding. Okay. What's it taste like? It tastes pretty good.
Fresh, cold, delicious.
That's good mountain water.
There you go.
And then we'll probably back flush this when we get to some clean water. Help it last longer.